What is going on?
Oh, howdy, Texan Ads here with you. Welcome to a Friday night update, depending on where you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Thank you, first and foremost. Huge news from Team UTG. Last night here in Australia, we launched officially, finally, after 18 months of development, we launched Gravy Train. So happy to have done that. The response has been incredible. I guess as expected, we've been building this up for such a long time. We're doing a special 50% off for the first 20 people. That actually went like almost instantly. So we've had a lot of requests. So we've reopened the 50% off for the next 20 people that jump on board on Gravy Train. And those people will also go in the draw to win a 12-month sub to Gravy Train. This is undoubtedly the most powerful, all-inclusive, advanced indicator we have ever released. And the response so far has been absolutely incredible. So thank you to every single person that's jumped on. You can go to unitytradinggroup.com/gravy train, put in the promo code gravy baby and get 50% off your first month at GT. So let's get straight into the charts. Of course, for anything that we do here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications as well, because we do this every single day, whether it be ads or myself or both of us. And you will get instant updates to exactly what we're seeing in the market, exactly as we are trading it. So looking at BTC here now, we often see after movements to the downside, we see these sort of double bottom formations, these sort of W formations, which I absolutely love. Before recoveries to the upside, we have penetrated this I guess, more immediate supply zone on the way now, looking to be towards this lower supply zone. The 1272, again, acting as a little bit of a shield or a bounce point for BTC at the moment. But I'm not really liking where we are here at BTC currently. I know the other night when we spoke about BTC, we spoke about the importance of this 50 RSI and how that was going to be the challenge for BTC moving forward. Gravy Train, of course, had given us an area of interest, but still we are here now in this red cloud, which is a little bit of a no-go zone. So Gravy Train giving us the short signal and ads. We've seen this a couple of times beforehand where we had these significant uptrends or these trend lines where we break to the downside and then have bearish retests of these trend lines, and Gravy Train hit it bang on again.
Absolutely, it has, man. And look, it's good that you mentioned those two levels of demand because I was going to. That really gives me an opening into what I was going to say. So after we did have that Gravy Train S signal, that sell signal, the short signal, whatever you want to call it, off that level of or the trend line that we saw the retest there at around that 52k, just shy of about 51. We pushed down and we tested the level of supply, demand again, where we did bounce off around the 24th or 25th of February. And of course, it being the upper region of the two levels of demand that we had, of course, we smashed through it. And the next one will be at 44,000. So we've got a decent level to the left-hand side to really base this off. So we've got the candle here, which is a pause in the market. But the more important thing is the retest to the right-hand side of that at around that 44k before we moved towards the upside. So we are seeing that come to fruition now. We are stuck on the 2.72 like you mentioned. But I think that $44,000 level of demand that we see just across the bottom of the screen there is inevitable. And looking like our old reliable steamroller is agreeing with us there.
Yeah, totally. And if we and where Gravy Train really shines in this particular instance is really across any time frame, but where we are finding some really golden entries, whether it be for shorts or longs, is on that 1 hour time frame, which gives you a really nice confluence if used in conjunction with the likes of Steamroller and our other oscillators to see those oversold conditions. So if we go down to the 1 hour ads and where BTC or Gravy Train had given us the stop long signal right at the very top of this movement, and of course it's given us the shorts all the way down. So if you are using Gravy Train, we'll have a video for you very shortly as well for all you guys that jumped on last night. But a really beautiful way to use this is as you start building a narrative over those smaller timeframes. What is the daily telling you? 12 for 1 hour, down to the 30 or 15, depending on how you make your entry. So don't forget that when we are in these bearish or these, short-term bearish conditions with BTC, when in doubt, zoom out and check those higher timeframes to see where things are. But I totally agree with that. 44 is going to be the next one that we tap if we don't recover from here, and then from there, sort of 41, 3, 40, 42 area is going to be the next area where I have buys laid in, absolutely, but also going to be considering the way in which we react at that level, and if we continue to the downside or if we recover from that and end up being range bound, between these sorts of areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, FUSD. What's going on with that? Of course, again, Gravy Train giving us the goods here. So that top demand zone, or supply zone rather, was the one to watch. Again, very similar instance to BTC here. Not a great deal unchanged from the BTC USD pair. Little double bottom sort of formation here where we'd love to see a recovery. Steamroller giving us that short-term recovery signal here before Gravy Train gave us the short signal. Here we are at the moment, again, not loving the strength or the buy up, or I guess the buys are maybe drying up a little bit at this particular area here. So 61.8 obviously playing a significant role here for the bounce, but that's probably more of more of an important level to me, ads, admittedly.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that as well. Looking like this 61.8 is important, I guess. We've established that, and we always will know that. But this double bottom scenario, if it doesn't play out in the way that we really expect it to, I'm very much committed to the fact that we'll see 1350 for ETH. So that's a $100 drop from where we are. Of course, take that with a grain of salt, but of course, it is the most relevant level of demand to me. And if I just turn Gravy Train off for a minute, we do have one zone that's quite close and just underneath it. So in the same sort of boat as BTC, where we've got two zones close together. So I wouldn't be choosing one zone in particular to really base my trade off. I'd be using both those levels just to give me a rough idea on where the market will head. Of course, if we break it down below the 61, we've got the 78.6 lining up with our bottom level of demand. So whether that means a little bit more in terms of the price action, if we are going to test that level, and if that's going to be more relevant, that could definitely be the case. Of course, that will be around that 1250 area where we see that bottom level of fibs or bottom level of demand take form there. So if you've got two levels of demand or two levels of supply that are quite close to each other with very little price action in between them, treat it sort of as one larger level. I know it's a little bit tricky to do that, and of course, if you are using this top of the band or top of the zone and using the bottom of the zone as a stop loss, it's a little bit tricky. But if I were to be looking at this on a spot in terms of a DCA strategy, I'd be looking for taking positions here, of course, and maybe averaging myself in a little bit further on the bottom one there, Ty. I think that would be the play for ETH at the moment.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Buys laid down to like 1310, sort of 1200. Sort of 1100, and then I've got some sneaky, some very, very sneaky, cheeky dip buys down at around the sort of the 910, 915 zone, just in case we were to wick down to there, which would be sort of quick. And I'd imagine a very quick buy up from those levels. A lot of liquidity stacked to the downside on ETH, I would imagine, at this point. So let's get into XRP USD and have a little bit of a look. If you want to know more about LTC, I'm trading that a lot, so you can ask questions inside the Discord of that. But let's keep this short and brief. And another coin that we are both enjoying trading a lot as of late, reaching I guess a half significant level here, adds similar to the rest of the story. I don't feel overly confident of this level holding, but I certainly am interested in this level right here where we are, and exactly where you've got that demand level down at around that 36 cent mark.
So I've taken Gravy Train off because I really want to just make a point to these levels that we've got on the chart. And the first level, really, you're seeing a pattern emerge here with the higher cap coins, the USD pairs, where we've got two levels that are quite close to each other and equally irrelevant in my opinion. So we've had the first one that was relevant. Of course, we did bounce off it, but bar the wick, of course, down to the bottom one. So XRP being a very special case where you had liquidity already sitting at the 38 cent mark, or that bottom level of demand that was touched, and respected quite nicely. We did have another touch here at the 44 cent level of demand. Of course, we are eating away at this price action now. So in saying that, I agree with what you've said there, Ty, and of course this level is pretty much toast in my opinion. So we could just as easily delete this off the chart right now, and if we are not to hold the 78.6, the 88.6 is very close, and it coincides very nicely with not only our bounce from the other day, but of course our level of demand from the most relevant pivot point on the market. So the most relevant pivot point, of course, come down. We pivoted off this 38 cent mark to continue up and test the 64 cent mark. So looking like that pivot point formed our lower level of demand, and of course it is the most relevant level in my opinion. And I would be looking there if we are looking for some buys on XRP. Of course, you can also employ that DCA strategy where you've got two zones close together. Of course, I have done that, full transparency. I did have a buy at the 44 cent mark for XRP, and of course I'd be looking towards this 38 cent mark now, and of course the 30 cent mark if we get some cheeky sync bids down below for a further movement down. But looking like if we don't hold this 78, we've got a little bit more room on the steamroller indicator, a little bit more room on the RSI to really reach that 38 or 37 cent mark for XRP, and I think we can get there looking at some of this price action. But we're keeping our expectations to a reasonable level. Of course, we've been in a bull market for quite some time, Ty, so it really comes down to how far is this pullback going to get or going to go before we get the next round.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's this is where you've got to have some patience and let things play out. I've taken nowhere near as many trades in the last week and a half, more so just dollar cost averaging and setting buys for lower positions and looking to accumulate during what I am sure will just be a bit of a consolidation phase for BTC. It's a cool off that was much needed after such a significant run up. This is not the end of the world. We're seeing big companies like Square dumping $137 million into BTC, I think it was, or something very significant now, almost 5% of their shares in BTC. So the institutional buying has certainly not been affected by what we're seeing here at BTC at the moment in crypto. All right, let's get into the DXY. Of course, anything that we shared here at UTG when it comes to the reg markets is just opinion and for educational purposes only. If you want more information, talk to your licensed financial advisor.
Thank you, sir. So the DXY is something that we follow quite regularly if you've been watching our videos for quite some time now, and I'm spewing that we didn't do a video last night because the level that I really outlined the night before, 89.79 for the DXY, played out to a T. And all I did was look left for some liquidity during our time, in January, and we got that bounce quite aggressively. And Steamroller agreeing with me there on the bottom there. But if you're not familiar with Steamroller, you can find out more at unitytradinggroup.com. But in any case, we did have the bounce that we were looking for, and that response or that reaction to that support at the 89 mark pushed us back to our level of supply. However, we did push through it, so a decent movement upwards for the DXY. And of course, if I'm to move our level towards the upside and seeing where we could potentially run from here, we're looking at around the 90.5 area here. It's not far away from where we are now, but it could probably move through this with a bit of ease, providing that we do make a higher high to the left-hand side here. So yes, we have made movements through our level of supply. However, we haven't made any higher highs just yet in terms of the level here. If we're looking directly to the left, we have. So that gives me a little bit of confidence to say that we'll get to the 90.5 mark. And hold above it for now. But it remains to be seen. We've pushed through the level of RSI in terms of the 50. We've been smashed down once, but we did smash through it again. And we are looking for this 50 RSI. If you haven't used the 50, make sure you put it on your chart to act as level support before we move into the upside. So if we are to look for our fibs and of course our low quality levels of supply, it's 90.5, 90.6. And of course, back to the 50 at 90.92, where we've got this liquidity area and this market pivot point before we move to the downside. But we're probably going to have to wait till next week for that to happen. We've got 1 day left of trading in before we close tomorrow morning at Melbourne time, of course, for the DXY. So we might not see these upper levels play out until, midweek next week, Ty, I think.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And again, if you want to know more about Gravy Train, the most powerful indicator we have ever created, the culmination of 18 months of very, very hard work and lots and lots of testing, you can go to unitytradinggroup.com/Gravy Train. And of course, if you're picking up what we're putting down here at UTG on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and we will see you for the next UTG update. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, guys.